Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. The world of coin collecting is full of hidden treasures, waiting to be discovered by those who have a keen eye and a passion for history. Among these treasures is the 1964 Jefferson nickel, a coin that might seem like just another 5-cent piece at first glance, but in the world of numismatics, it holds incredible value. While many people are familiar with the classic design of the Jefferson nickel, few realize that this particular year, 1964, produced coins that are highly sought after and can command an extraordinary price. If you've ever wondered how a simple nickel could be worth so much, you're in for a fascinating journey into the world of rare coins, minting errors, and the surprising ways in which some coins can become far more valuable than their face value. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse, and an image of his home, Monticello, on the reverse. The design has remained relatively unchanged since its debut, but the 1964 version of the coin has a special significance that sets it apart from the millions of other nickels minted that year. The most obvious factor in determining the value of a coin is its rarity, and the 1964 Jefferson nickel is certainly one of those rare finds. While millions of these coins were produced during that year, only a small number have survived in pristine condition. Most coins that enter circulation are quickly worn down by the countless transactions they pass through, losing their sharp details and luster. But a select few, often kept in good condition, can still be found today. These coins, which are in mint state and have avoided the wear and tear of daily circulation, are incredibly valuable to collectors. The higher the grade of the coin, the more money it can fetch at auction. In fact, a 1964 Jefferson nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition is considered a true rarity and can be worth a significant amount of money. However, it's not just condition that can make a 1964 Jefferson nickel valuable. The world of coin collecting is also full of excitement when it comes to minting errors, and this is where the 1964 Jefferson nickel takes an interesting turn. While most coins are struck with precision and care, sometimes things don't go according to plan. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process, resulting in a coin that is different from what was originally intended. These errors can range from small imperfections to more dramatic mistakes that make a coin unique. And when it comes to the 1964 Jefferson nickel, there are a few specific errors that can make these coins even more valuable. One of the most well-known errors associated with the 1964 Jefferson nickel is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin's design is struck more than once, resulting in a slight doubling of the image. On the 1964 Jefferson nickel, this could affect the date, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." The doubling effect is subtle, but if you know what to look for, it's easy to spot. These double die coins are rare and highly collectible, and collectors will often pay a premium for one in good condition. Another error that can increase the value of a 1964 Jefferson nickel is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned with the press during minting, resulting in a coin with part of the design missing or shifted to one side. Off-center strikes are always interesting to collectors because they are unique and can't be replicated. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin can become. If you happen to find a 1964 Jefferson nickel with an off-center strike, it could be worth far more than its face value. Then there are clipped planchet errors, which occur when a blank piece of metal, known as a planchet, is not fully cut into the proper shape before being struck with the design. This can result in a coin with a portion of the edge missing. A clipped planchet on a 1964 Jefferson nickel is not only a rare error, but it also adds to the coin's uniqueness, making it highly desirable to collectors. It's not just the minting errors that add value to the 1964 Jefferson nickel, however. Another factor that plays a crucial role in determining a coin's worth is its provenance. Some coins come with interesting stories or historical significance that make them even more valuable. A 1964 Jefferson nickel that was part of a collection belonging to a famous numismatist or was found in an unusual location can command a premium price. Provenance adds a layer of intrigue and history that makes the coin even more fascinating to collectors. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is a 1964 Jefferson nickel worth? As we've discussed, it all depends on the coin's condition, any minting errors, and its rarity. While most 1964 Jefferson nickels are worth only a few cents above their face value, the rare specimens can fetch an incredible price. The most sought-after 1964 Jefferson nickels, especially those with rare minting errors, can sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Some of the finest examples of these coins, in pristine condition with errors or unique characteristics, can even be worth as much as $150,000. This staggering amount reflects the value that collectors place on coins that have survived the test of time in remarkable condition, or those that have a rare and unusual feature that sets them apart from the rest. If you happen to own a 1964 Jefferson nickel that is in excellent shape or has an interesting minting error, you might want to get it professionally graded to determine its true worth. The right coin, in the right condition, can be a true treasure trove waiting to be uncovered. In the end, the 1964 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how something as simple as a 5-cent piece can turn into a valuable and rare collectible. Whether it's a pristine coin, a rare error, or just a piece of history, this small but mighty coin could have a far greater value than you ever imagined. And, if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare gems, you could be holding a coin worth $150,000. Top 2. When you think of coins, what comes to mind? Perhaps you imagine pocket change, coins exchanged in stores, or the simple nickel that you use to buy a small snack. But did you know that some of these seemingly ordinary coins, like the 1990 Jefferson nickel, can be worth a small fortune? It's true, many collectors and numismatists seek out these coins because of their unique qualities, rare errors, and pristine condition. If you've ever wondered how a humble 5-cent coin could be worth so much, you're about to discover the fascinating world of the 1990 Jefferson nickel, its value, and why it's worth a second look. Let's start by talking about the Jefferson nickel itself. First minted in 1938, the Jefferson nickel has been a part of American currency for more than 8 decades. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, paying tribute to the third President of the United States. On the reverse side, you'll find an image of Monticello, Jefferson's beloved home in Virginia, which serves as a symbol of American history. The coin's classic design has remained a staple of U.S. currency for generations, and the 1990 version of the nickel is no exception. So, why is the 1990 Jefferson nickel so special? The truth is that, like most coins, the 1990 Jefferson nickel is typically not worth much more than its face value. After all, it was minted in the millions, and most of the coins went into circulation where they were used as everyday currency. Over time, many of these coins became worn and damaged, losing their pristine quality. However, this is where the intrigue lies. Despite the fact that millions of these coins were produced, some rare examples have managed to survive in remarkable condition. These coins are prized by collectors because of their quality, and the better the condition, the higher the value. Mint state coins, those that have been well preserved and show no signs of wear, are the ones collectors seek most. But it's not just the condition that can make a 1990 Jefferson nickel valuable. Minting errors are also a key factor in determining a coin's worth. Mint errors are mistakes that occur during the coin production process, and some of these errors can make a coin far more valuable than one without them. With the 1990 Jefferson nickel, there are certain types of errors that can significantly increase the coin's value. For example, one of the most desirable types of errors is the double die variety. Double dies occur when a coin is struck more than once by the same die, causing the design elements to overlap slightly. This can result in doubled lettering, such as the word Liberty or the date 1990. These subtle duplications are noticeable to the trained eye and can make a coin much more valuable. A double-die 1990 Jefferson nickel can sell for a premium, especially if the doubling is particularly pronounced and visible. another error that can make the 1990 Jefferson nickel worth more than face value is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a design that is shifted to one side of the coin. The more extreme the misalignment, the more valuable the coin can be. Off-center strikes are relatively rare, and collectors are always on the lookout for these unusual errors. If you happen to find a 1990 Jefferson nickel with a significant off-center strike, it could be worth much more than its original 5-cent value. Clipped planchets are another error that can make the 1990 nickel more valuable. A clipped planchet happens when the metal blank used to strike the coin is not cut properly before it is struck by the die, leaving a portion of the edge missing. This creates a coin with an irregular shape, making it a unique find for collectors. These types of errors are highly sought after because they represent an anomaly in the production process. A 1990 Jefferson nickel with a clipped planchet can be worth considerably more than a regular, unblemished coin. Now, you might be wondering, how do you go about finding a rare 1990 Jefferson nickel that is worth a significant amount of money? It's all about paying attention to the details. Start by inspecting the condition of the coin. If it's a mint state coin, meaning it has little to no wear and retains its original luster, then you may have found a valuable specimen. Next, take a close look at the design. Are there any signs of doubling, particularly on the date or the word Liberty? Check for any misalignment or off-center strikes, and examine the edges of the coin for any signs of clipping. If you spot any of these errors, you might just have a rare find on your hands. That if you're unsure about the value of a coin, it's always a good idea to have it professionally graded by a numismatist or a reputable coin grading service. These experts can assess the condition of the coin, identify any minting errors, and provide an accurate valuation. In some cases, a 1990 Jefferson nickel that has been graded as being in excellent condition or has a rare minting error could fetch a substantial amount of money at auction. So, what is the worth of a 1990 Jefferson nickel with the right attributes? If you find a coin in pristine, mint state condition or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth a significant amount of money, certainly much more than 5 cents. In fact, depending on the coin's rarity and condition, a 1990 Jefferson nickel could be worth as much as $60,000. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and coins like the 1990 Jefferson nickel are a perfect example of how something that seems ordinary at first glance can actually be extraordinary. Whether it's a pristine coin or one with a rare error, these nickels have the potential to be worth far more than their face value. So, next time you're sorting through your change, take a closer look at those 1990 Jefferson nickels. They might just be worth a small fortune. Top 3. Coins are more than just currency, they are pieces of history, tiny capsules that tell the story of the past. Among the many coins in circulation, some stand out as rare and valuable treasures. One such coin is the 2004 Jefferson nickel, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece that, under the right circumstances, can fetch a remarkable price. It's easy to overlook these coins as just part of everyday change, but when it comes to rare coins, what may look like a simple nickel could actually be worth thousands of dollars. In this video, we're going to explore what makes the 2004 Jefferson nickel special, the factors that influence its value, and why it could be sitting in your pocket or collection right now, waiting to be discovered. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, has long been one of the most iconic coins in the United States. Its design honors Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, with his portrait on the obverse and an image of his estate, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the years, the design has remained mostly unchanged, but each year brings new opportunities for collectors and enthusiasts to find rare versions of this coin. One such year is 2004, which marked an interesting year for the Jefferson nickel, as it was part of a series that honored the Louisiana Purchase, one of the most important events in American history. In 2004, the U.S. Mint issued a special set of Jefferson nickels that featured a new reverse design to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the Lewis and Clark expedition, which was launched as a result of the Louisiana Purchase. This new design replaced the traditional Monticello image with a depiction of an image related to the expedition, showcasing the keelboat, a boat used by Lewis and Clark on their journey to explore the Western Territories. While this design was part of the annual series and became a familiar part of U.S. currency, certain factors can make the 2004 Jefferson nickel stand out as something much more valuable. As with any coin, the condition of the 2004 Jefferson nickel plays a critical role in determining its value. Most of the 2004 nickels that entered circulation were subjected to the usual wear and tear. These coins were used in countless transactions, passed through thousands of hands, and over time, became worn, scratched, and faded. However, some of these coins managed to avoid the wear and are still in pristine condition today. These coins, which are classified as mint state coins, are highly desirable because they have retained their original luster and details, just as they looked when they were first struck by the U.S. Mint. When it comes to coin collecting, the higher the quality of the coin, the more valuable it becomes. A 2004 Jefferson nickel in mint state condition, with no visible scratches or imperfections, can be worth significantly more than a coin that has been circulated. Collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved coins, and a 2004 Jefferson nickel in excellent condition can easily fetch a higher price than most other coins of that year. However, the condition is just one piece of the puzzle. In the world of numismatics, minting errors are another factor that can send the value of a coin soaring. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the manufacturing process, and these errors can result in unique coins that are worth far more than their intended value. These errors are rare, and finding one can be like striking gold. When it comes to the 2004 Jefferson nickel, there are several types of minting errors that collectors are on the lookout for. One of the most valuable errors is the double die variety. This happens when a coin is struck twice, causing the design to overlap slightly. The result is a doubled image, often visible in the date or lettering on the coin. On the 2004 Jefferson nickel, a double die error could mean that the date 2004 or the word Liberty is slightly doubled, making the coin much more valuable to collectors. Double die coins are often among the most sought-after varieties in the numismatic world, and a 2004 nickel with this error could command a high price. Another type of minting error that can make a 2004 Jefferson nickel valuable is the off-center strike. This error occurs when the coin is not aligned properly when it is struck, causing the design to be off-center or shifted. The more pronounced the misalignment, the more valuable the coin can be. Off-center strikes are relatively rare, and finding a 2004 Jefferson nickel with this error can make the coin highly desirable to collectors who specialize in unusual or unique minting flaws. There's also the possibility of finding a coin struck on an incorrect planchet. This happens when a nickel is mistakenly struck on a blank that was intended for a different denomination. For example, a 2004 Jefferson nickel might be struck on a penny or dime-sized planchet, creating a coin that is smaller or oddly shaped. These errors are highly collectible and can often fetch a higher price than a standard coin because they are one of a kind. It's not just minting errors that can make a 2004 Jefferson nickel valuable, rarity plays a key role as well. The fewer coins that are available in excellent condition or with errors, the more desirable they become. Over time, coins naturally age and wear down, making those that are still in great condition rarer and more valuable. The 2004 Jefferson nickel is now over 15 years old, and as time goes on, it becomes increasingly harder to find these coins in mint condition or with significant errors. This rarity contributes to their increasing value in the market. For collectors, understanding how to spot valuable 2004 Jefferson nickels is essential. If you have a 2004 nickel in your collection or come across one in your change, take a closer look. Check the condition. Does it look like it's been well preserved, or does it show signs of heavy wear? Then, carefully examine the design for any signs of minting errors. Is there any doubling in the lettering? Are there signs of misalignment or an off-center strike? Pay attention to the edges of the coin for any signs of unusual clipping or strikes. So, how much could a rare 2004 Jefferson nickel be worth? While most of the coins are valued at face value or only slightly above, the ones in pristine condition or with minting errors can be worth far more. If you find a well-preserved, error-free 2004 Jefferson nickel or one with a unique minting flaw, it could easily be worth a substantial amount of money. In fact, a 2004 Jefferson nickel with a rare error or in exceptional condition could be worth as much as $30,000. The 2004 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how even the most ordinary coins can turn into valuable treasures. Whether it's a coin in mint state condition or one with a rare error, this seemingly simple 5-cent piece could hold far more value than you ever imagined. So, the next time you're looking through your change, take a moment to inspect those 2004 nickels. You might just be holding a small fortune in your hand. Top 4. Coins are a fascinating part of history, each one telling its own unique story. When you look at a coin like the 1979 Jefferson nickel, it may seem like just another 5-cent piece to most people. However, within the world of numismatics, this seemingly ordinary coin holds incredible potential to be much more than its face value. In fact, some versions of the 1979 Jefferson nickel are worth a small fortune, sometimes upwards of $75,000. Yes, you read that right. The 1979 Jefferson nickel could be sitting in your change jar, waiting for you to discover that it is worth far more than you could ever imagine. So, what makes the 1979 Jefferson nickel so special, and why are collectors willing to pay top dollar for it? Let's dive into the world of this remarkable coin and find out. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of U.S. currency for more than 8 decades. First introduced in 1938, this 5-cent piece replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel and has remained an iconic part of American coinage. Its design features the likeness of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse, and his estate, Monticello, on the reverse. The simplicity and elegance of this design have made the Jefferson nickel a lasting symbol of American history and culture. The 1979 Jefferson nickel, like most coins from that era, was produced in vast quantities by the U.S. Mint and was used widely in everyday transactions. At face value, it was just another nickel, circulating along with other coins and going through the hands of millions of Americans. However, certain factors can make a 1979 Jefferson nickel worth much more than just 5 cents. These factors include the condition of the coin, any minting errors that may be present, and the rarity of the coin. Let's begin with the most important factor when it comes to a coin's value, its condition. Like any collectible item, a coin that is well preserved and in excellent condition will always be worth more than one that has been worn down or damaged over time. Most 1979 Jefferson nickels that were used in circulation became worn out and tarnished with age. After being passed from hand to hand and spent over the years, the surfaces of these coins became scratched, scuffed, and discolored. As a result, these nickels are typically not worth much more than their face value today. However, coins that have been carefully preserved or have remained in mint condition are far more valuable to collectors. Mint state coins are those that have been protected from the usual wear and tear that comes with being used in circulation. They retain their original shine, detail, and luster, making them highly desirable to collectors who are looking for the finest examples of coinage. A 1979 Jefferson nickel in mint state condition could be worth significantly more than a worn, circulated coin. These high-quality specimens can fetch much higher prices at auctions, with collectors willing to pay a premium for coins that have been so well preserved. But it's not just the condition of the 1979 Jefferson nickel that makes it valuable. Mint errors can also greatly increase the worth of a coin. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, resulting in a coin that is unique or unusual. These errors can take many forms, but they are generally rare and often make a coin far more desirable to collectors. With the 1979 Jefferson nickel, there are several minting errors that can make the coin significantly more valuable than its face value. One of the most notable errors for the 1979 Jefferson nickel is the double die variety. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, resulting in a design that is stamped twice. This creates a subtle doubling effect on certain elements of the coin, most commonly the date or the word Liberty. On a 1979 nickel, if you notice that the numbers in the date are doubled, or if there's a noticeable doubling of the letters in Liberty, you may be holding a double die error. These errors are highly prized by collectors and can drive the value of the coin up dramatically. Another mint error that can make a 1979 Jefferson nickel particularly valuable is an off-center strike. An off-center strike occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be shifted to one side of the coin. The more off-center the design is, the more valuable the coin can be. Off-center strikes are rare, and finding a 1979 Jefferson nickel with this kind of error can make the coin worth much more than a regular example. There's also the possibility of finding a 1979 Jefferson nickel that was struck on an incorrect planchet. A planchet is the metal blank that is struck to produce a coin, and if a 1979 Jefferson nickel was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, it could be worth a fortune. For instance, if the nickel was struck on a dime-sized planchet, it could result in a coin that is smaller than a regular nickel and potentially worth thousands of dollars. Coins that have been struck on incorrect planchets are rare, and collectors pay top dollar for them when they come across one. With all these factors in mind, it's clear that the value of the 1979 Jefferson nickel depends largely on its rarity, condition, and any unique features it may possess. Finding a 1979 Jefferson nickel in mint state condition or with a rare mint error could mean you're holding a valuable piece of numismatic history. If you're lucky enough to find a rare version of this coin, it could fetch a handsome sum at auction or from collectors looking to complete their collections. So, what's the value of a 1979 Jefferson nickel that possesses these rare characteristics? While most 1979 Jefferson nickels are worth just 5 cents, the ones that are in mint state condition or have a minting error can be worth significantly more. In fact, a 1979 Jefferson nickel in pristine condition or with a rare error can be worth as much as $75,000. The 1979 Jefferson nickel serves as a perfect example of how coins that were once thought of as just everyday currency can become highly sought-after treasures. If you happen to have a 1979 nickel lying around, it's definitely worth taking the time to inspect it closely. Look for any signs of mint errors, examine the coin for its condition, and check for any features that make it stand out from the rest. You never know, you might just be holding onto a coin that's worth far more than you ever imagined. In the end, the 1979 Jefferson nickel is not just a relic of the past, but a valuable piece of American numismatic history. Whether it's a well-preserved coin or one with a rare mint error, the potential value of this coin makes it worth keeping an eye out for. So, the next time you find yourself with a 1979 Jefferson nickel in your pocket, remember, it could be worth far more than you think. Top 5. Coins often carry more than just their face value, they tell the story of the past, reflecting moments in history, changes in culture, and even the intricacies of the minting process. Among the many coins that have been produced by the United States Mint, the Jefferson nickel holds a special place. The 1972 Jefferson nickel, in particular, is not just a simple 5-cent piece, it's a coin that has the potential to be worth tens of thousands of dollars. What makes this particular nickel so valuable, and why are collectors and investors so eager to get their hands on it? Let's explore the fascinating story behind the 1972 Jefferson nickel and uncover the factors that contribute to its impressive value today. First, let's talk about the history and design of the Jefferson nickel. This iconic coin was introduced in 1938 and replaced the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation for decades. The Jefferson nickel was designed by Felix Schlag, and it has two main features that stand the test of time: the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse, and an image of his famous estate, Monticello, on the reverse. The design has remained largely unchanged over the years, making the Jefferson nickel a familiar symbol of American coinage. Now, let's focus on the 1972 Jefferson nickel. By the early 1970s, the design of the Jefferson nickel was well established, and millions of them were produced each year. In 1972, the U.S. Mint struck over 1 billion Jefferson nickels, with many of them entering circulation and being used by the public in everyday transactions. But like many coins, the vast majority of these nickels became worn and damaged as they were passed from hand to hand, losing their original detail and luster. So, how does a coin like the 1972 Jefferson nickel go from being a mere 5-cent piece to a valuable collector's item? The answer lies in the rarity, condition, and sometimes, errors that occur during the minting process. To collectors, the condition of a coin is paramount. A coin's value increases exponentially when it is in excellent, nearly perfect condition, often referred to as mint state or uncirculated. Coins that have been well preserved and show little to no signs of wear are far more desirable because they retain the sharp details and brilliance they had when first minted. Unfortunately, most of the 1972 Jefferson nickels that were used in circulation became worn over time, making high-quality examples harder to come by. However, the 1972 Jefferson nickel is a particularly interesting coin for collectors because some rare, high-quality specimens have surfaced in recent years, often going for impressive sums. These high-grade examples, which show no signs of circulation, are considered exceptional finds in the world of numismatics, and they are eagerly sought after by collectors. When you come across a 1972 Jefferson nickel in perfect condition, it could be worth far more than its 5-cent face value, but what makes this coin even more intriguing is the possibility of mint errors. Mint errors are imperfections that occur during the manufacturing process, and they can drastically increase the value of a coin. While minting errors are rare, they are a treasure for collectors, as they make certain coins stand out and become unique. For the 1972 Jefferson nickel, there are several types of errors that can contribute to its high value. One of the most sought-after mint errors for the 1972 Jefferson nickel is the double die variety. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, leading to the image being stamped twice. This causes certain elements of the coin, such as the date or the word Liberty, to appear doubled. On a 1972 nickel, a double die error can be most noticeable in the date, where the numbers may appear slightly shifted or doubled. This error is highly valued by collectors because it creates a distinct look that cannot be replicated, making the coin much rarer and more valuable. Another minting error that can make a 1972 Jefferson nickel more valuable is an off-center strike. This error occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the striking process, causing the design to be off-center or misaligned. The more extreme the misalignment, the more valuable the coin becomes. Off-center strikes are rare, and if you happen to find a 1972 Jefferson nickel with this error, it could be worth a significant amount of money to the right buyer. Some 1972 Jefferson nickels have also been discovered with the clipped planchet error. This occurs when the metal blank, or planchet, is improperly cut, resulting in a portion of the coin being missing or clipped. Clipped planchets are distinctive and unusual, making them highly collectible. If you come across a 1972 Jefferson nickel with a clipped edge, you might be holding a coin that is worth much more than a regular, unblemished nickel. In addition to minting errors, the overall rarity of the 1972 Jefferson nickel also plays a role in its value. The more scarce a coin is, the more valuable it becomes. While millions of 1972 Jefferson nickels were minted, over time, many of these coins have been lost, damaged, or melted down. This makes well-preserved examples even more valuable. Moreover, the search for rare minting errors or specific die varieties has become a popular hobby among collectors, which further drives up the value of certain coins. Now, you might be wondering how much a 1972 Jefferson nickel could actually be worth. While most 1972 nickels are still worth just 5 cents in normal condition, certain rare versions of the coin can be worth a staggering amount of money. In particular, a 1972 Jefferson nickel in mint state condition, or one that has a significant mint error, can easily fetch as much as $88,000. The 1972 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can be worth far more than its face value. Whether it's a coin in exceptional condition or one that features a rare minting error, this nickel could be a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. So, the next time you come across a 1972 Jefferson nickel in your pocket, take a closer look. It could be worth much more than you ever thought possible. Coins like the 1972 Jefferson nickel remind us that the world of numismatics is full of surprises. Even a simple 5-cent piece, when it carries the right conditions or errors, can be worth a small fortune. As collectors continue to seek out these rare coins, the value of the 1972 Jefferson nickel will only continue to grow. If you find one of these rare treasures, you could be holding a coin that's worth far more than its face value, potentially changing your financial future in an instant.